trades out, exact entries, exact exits to the Apex Live day trading room. And today being Black Friday, we said, what the heck, let's do it live on YouTube. Well, actually on our website, check that, but it'll be recorded and put on YouTube later. But the idea being is I want you guys to understand how the mentality of traders works. And so Drew, Ben, and Dr. B right here with me. How you guys doing today?
Oh, doing excellent. Just
Awesome.
Watching the charts, you know.
Yeah, doing great, nice and full. Yeah, can't complain. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
I'll tell you, that was a great Thanksgiving, you know. Nice weather down here in Tampa, and beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. So the idea here, folks, is it's 9 o'clock or just a couple minutes after 9. We are going to do what we do on a normal basis. So obviously, usually you see me in the game plan, but while I'm doing the game plan, these gentlemen are studying the potential trade setups for the day and ultimately bringing it to the point where when we go live in the live day trading room, the Apex Live day trading room, we have our levels already, we have our key trading opportunities, what's moving, what's not, and I think that's what we want to bring to you guys right now. And so what I'll do is I'm going to jump up here and just quickly go over what the S&P is doing here this morning. It's kind of an interesting little day here because, first of all, the futures were open yesterday. They were kind of floating up. They continued in the overnight. The kicker for me was on the beginning of the day yesterday, the beginning of Thanksgiving, we heard that the U.S. may not curb sales of semiconductors quite as much as initially thought. And so what did that do? It boosted the futures up on Thanksgiving going into Black Friday. And you guys, I'm not a huge conspiracy theory person, but at the same time, you know, I do realize that if the markets can be up on Black Friday, it generally will produce more sales, more good things for the economy, which is not a overall bad thing for the players in power, right? And so what we saw here is this is where we closed on Friday, right? We closed Friday. Look at me. I'm saying Friday because it seems like a freaking Monday.
It does, but Wednesday.
But Wednesday, all right, Wednesday we closed here. We floated up, and this is 4 in the morning right here, so you can see. And we have kind of faded a little bit, but now we're starting to get a little bit of a move to the upside. So again, it looks like markets right now are trading just slightly positive on the day. And just flipping to our daily chart, again, this is a chart that I've shown you guys, is I continue to think that this is a really important wedge pattern. You can see you have your highs, your lows right across here, right? We broke down. Now we've come back up above it into that upper level and then back into this one here as well. So there's a couple interesting levels, meaning that if we were to push up here, I would assume this would be a lot of resistance on the S&P 500. But again, that's just to give us an idea of where the markets are. Now, once we do that, we want to kind of ground ourselves and say, okay, well, what is moving today? What are the trading opportunities out there in this market? So I'm going to kick it off to you guys. What are you guys looking at today?
Drew, you mentioned Decker, right? DECK is something that's moving.
Yeah, but it's light on volume this morning. There's a level on Decker over $200, or pardon me, over $200. The volume, as I said, isn't that heavy. We'll see once the market opens if it will have a push up above that level. There's a couple areas, as I said, it's above 200. But 200 is a psychological number. That whole round number, it's got a lot of power. Price action on Decker did get up there on November 25th. It got up very close to $200, right around 198, but it didn't pierce that $200 level. So I think that when Decker finally does push through 200, we're going to see that push through go a little bit higher than normal, right around 205, 207.
And you think that's going to be a possibility for a short today?
Potentially. We need to see if the volumes picks up. Yeah, pre-market, it's looking a little light. I've got another one I'm looking at, though.
Wait, before you do that, explain to people why the volume is so important.
Well, volume helps illustrate to us that there is that there's confidence in the move, that there's a lot of players pushing the price either one direction or the other. So a volume spike says that people are getting on board and helps us find these levels on the charts. If there's not a lot of volume, price can fluctuate up and down. There's just not a lot of direction. There's not a lot of confidence in the direction of the move.
And I think that's really important to understand is that without volume, it also makes, as day traders, it makes us more vulnerable, right? So a day trader wants to be able to get in when the emotion is creating this volume where people are getting too greedy or too fearful. When light volume is there, it tells us that if we get in, one trader or one big institution could really mess our trade up, right? And that's a risk, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I see Dr. B's over here. What do you have for us
You know,
today?
I'm going to show the Decker chart. I'm going to hazard a guess, Drew, that you are seeing this same upsloping trend line that I'm seeing.
That's
right?
it. Yep.
Which is coming right into this $200 even number. And I love the third hits of these upsloping trend lines. I'll just erase this because it's a little confusing. So right here, right? So this third hit, you have an extended stock hitting this. Usually it pierces a little bit. Maybe you get a little bull trap, and then you come back down, right? So you'd probably be looking on a 200 pierce to be shorting that, right?
Yep. If you zoom in just a tad, that trend line goes right around 207, I want to say. So yeah, we're going to be looking through the $200 mark for sure.
Sure. Awesome.
Nice.
Very
nice.
cool.
All right. What else do you guys have this morning?
I got another one on SMCI. SMCI is falling this morning, down a little bit over 5%. Should SMCI get down under $30, there's a nice support level there. We've got gap fill at $29.70 as well. So I do like that area on SMCI. SMCI, be careful with it. It is a volatile stock.
That thing has been moving lately.
Yes.
Dropped down to
I'm
what,
just getting it
above
up for you here on the chart.
And then rallied to, what did it get up to, 39, 37?
Yeah.
So here, I'll let you take over, but I wanted to show here people, like, so you can see pre-market. This is what we look for. Here, come over here just a little bit so they can see. So when you see this is volatility, right? So something happened here that caused it to drop down. Now it's bounced back, but the idea is this will give us, as a trader, this we pay attention to because it creates a possible opportunity.
Absolutely. Now see, price already did get down into this level that I was interested in, right around here. So we're going to have to check the volume. Again, we're going to go back to the volume, make sure that volume was big enough to either cancel out this level. If it wasn't, then we're going to still target this level in the pre-market hours. A pierce of $30, again, right back to that psychological number of a whole round number. It makes a lot of sense for people to want to put their orders right around the $30 mark or just underneath it. The same thing's true for people that may stop out of their long positions. Once that price gets down into 30, has a high likelihood of piercing and going through just a little bit further for people that were worried going long and wanting to back out of the position. So this is an opportunity on the board for today. I'll keep you guys posted when we find any sort of additional moves.
So in terms of this, do you care about the risks of the accounting? I mean, is there anything there that like, I mean, a lot of people out there are like, yeah, but they have these issues, like, or do we just focus on trading it?
For this particular trade, we just focus more on trading. We're not looking to marry this stock. We're not looking to hold it for a long term. They still, just like Gareth said, they're not out of the woods yet. They do need to have their new accountant BDO actually submit the quarterly report. They have not reported earnings in quite some time, and that's what's put them on the hot seat for potentially getting delisted with the NASDAQ. So very good point. If for whatever reason this trade, we take it today and it goes against us and we get out, I would recommend probably getting out there too, reevaluating the stock price on another day and then maybe taking a trade with SMCI then later. But this is just for day trading purposes.
Nice, that makes a lot of sense. So then I think, just to reiterate, right, it's important that as a day trader, we're focused on the technicals and the chart because that's the immediate emotional reaction. And so you get these swings based on greed and fear and max greed where it's about to turn back up versus, you know, whatever might happen in a week or two. Because we're shorter term traders, we don't really care about that, right?
Correct, correct. You certainly still want to know the bigger picture of what's going on because it could create further flush outs or even a greater buying opportunity. So it's very, very important to have a broader sense of what this market is implying SMCI will do.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, because a lot of times it can actually save you from entering a trade too soon, right? So
Correct.
when it first had the news, it had like a 20-30% drop, and we had some technical levels ahead of that, and we were able to avoid that because we knew that it could potentially drop even further, and so then we waited for more of an extended move, a little higher volume before entering the trades.
Absolutely. All right, so we have those couple stocks that we're keeping on our radar. I'm seeing STNE. Do one of you guys want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, sure. You know what? I'll leave that to, I think, Ben, you were looking at that. I want to talk about Archer Aviation.
Oh, yes.
If that's okay. And
yeah, you talk about it. I'll bring it up for you so you can pop over here in
perfect.
a second.
And you know, so I'm curious if, Gareth, you're seeing the same thing. So I'm seeing right around the $10 Pierce, basically $9.75. There's a horizontal trend line there, resistance, and then there's an upsloping trend line. Pretty simple to see here, a couple of major pivots on the chart, but this stock is up 200% over the past, I mean, basically since October 1st, and it looks like it's going to continue running here. So we're up about, I think, 10% pre-market. And so another about 8% would bring us into that level. I'm not sure.
And then here, let me just, are these the lines?
That's it.
See, and folks, just so you know, like this is how in tune we are, because number one, we've learned the same methodology. We've been trading for years. We study the charts together on a daily basis. So as soon as he says that, it gets me to say, okay, well, he's looking at upsloping trend line. Okay, he's looking at this sideways here. I don't know if we can all see that, but boom, boom, this high right here to this high. Where are they coordinated? And you guys know from the game plans, right, that's where trend lines converge. That's going to give us a better opportunity than just one trend line. One trend line, honestly, probably gives us like 65%, maybe 70% success rate. But if you can get two, then you're up in that like 75, 80% success rate. Now, again, can you get to 90? I mean, maybe if you're really lucky and you just have the most amazing setup. Remember, there's always a risk of a loss. Archer Aviation has been a parabolic stock, so this would be, and Dr. B, correct me if I'm wrong, is, we talk about in the trading room, all right, like if we take an Apple position, we're taking like a quarter position of our portfolio, which is basically the way we explain this, folks, in the trading room is that you have, let's say you have $100,000 in cash or $1 million in cash. When we say a quarter position, it would be 25% of that cash. Now, as a day trader, you have 4-to-1 margin, so we're not even using, like, even if we had a full position, we could still day trade.
Still add, yeah,
right. But the idea is that's how we guide our members to understanding what we're putting in the trade. And remember, it's always what we're doing because we're trading, and then we obviously let everyone do what they want, but we're just guiding. We're telling you our exact entry, our exact exits, our share size essentially by percentage of portfolio. But in this case, would this be a 1/3, 1/4 position, or is it more likely that it's a little more risky, it's parabolic, it'd probably be a little smaller?
Yeah,
right?
I'd probably go smaller, maybe a 1/10, a 1/8, 1/6 position.
Yeah.
So if you go back to the chart, right, and you see that upsloping trend line, that horizontal trend line, there's actually probably more factors to this trade, right? If you were to pull up the RSI, you'd see that the RSI is overbought. Once you get into that level on the smaller time frames, you're probably going to start to see some bearish divergence. So there's a lot of different factors we look for, and we point out those factors, while we're trading in the room. And between the four of us, we're really kind of bouncing around in conversation and saying, hey guys, are you seeing this? I may not see something. Ben says, hey, but check this out. Look at this volume or whatever. And so it's really a team effort. I mean, there's a lot of information to look at. Right, and so that's where I think why we're so successful is we have a solid team, and then even some of the veteran members in the room, right? I mean, who have been on for years, they're popping in and saying, hey, you guys missed this. Check this out,
right.
And that's it's very helpful.
Well, I think that's the coolest thing about the trading room is it's been running since 2007, and so we have members that have been there for 10, 15 years at this point, and they've. Those people, could they go trade on their own? Yes, but we create kind of like a community. And even if, you look at me and you'd be like, oh, well, Gareth, he could retire and just trade on his own. But honestly, like what you guys are seeing, what our members are seeing, it's like having a zillion eyes focused on different things. And I will make more money because I will see more opportunities versus what I could just see on my own. And I think that's what's so cool. So, so even advanced traders, it's like, heck yeah, I want to be in there because I'm going to make more money by just being in there.
There literally was a comment this last week from one of our members. Shout out to Ron N. He did comment just saying the same thing. He's like, I love being in this room. There's so many other opportunities that are presented to us and to all the members that he can't see himself. And I even commented and agreed with him saying, all these extra eyes, I can only look at one chart every couple seconds, right? And then the more and more and more people that are educated in our room, which are very many, they're just educated eyes providing opportunities for the entire room, including us, to take advantage of. So.
And I'll just, or did you want to add something?
I was just going to say, and the cool thing is you don't even have to be educated to join the room.
That's true.
Right.
That's
like we give you your exact entries.
You're surrounded by all of us.
It's better, of course, if you are.
So you can join. Anybody can join, and just start small. Start with a smaller position size. Don't trust our levels until you get in there, and see that we know what we're talking about. And
that's a good point. I'd like to just reiterate that is that. We never. I always tell people, and I think we are all the same way. Is like when you join the Apex Live Day Trading Room. just sit back and watch for a week.
Yeah.
You know, make us prove ourselves.
That's what I did when I joined.
Yeah.
I just sat back.
Yeah, and just like, are these guys really as legit as the track record shows? And by the way, I mean, if you look at other trading rooms out there, you know, I've almost never found one that shows every single trade on the track record. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, we're up, you know, 50% or this or that, but they're not showing their exact trades. Like I've had some stinker trades. You know, we think we all have, right?
All have,
Sure.
And it's just like, that's the nature of being a trader. I think it's important that everyone that joins, you got to understand that it's not all roses and whatever they say, right? I mean, like, there's
Sunshine
going
and
to be,
rainbows.
right, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. By the way, Ben's our movie quote guy, too.
Yeah,
If you need a movie quote, he's your man to go to. But that's the key, is that this is real trading. We all go through struggles. Even I've traded 25 years, and I still get in a stinky trade every once in a while. And it's just like, man, it did everything the opposite of what I thought. And it's honestly, we always talk about like the stock gods, you know, like they want to remind you who's in charge. Like,
Yes.
no, you're not getting cocky. No, there's no real trader that's cocky. Like, you're not going to find any of us here that are like, oh, no, because the market, the second we think that, the market will smack us down.
Well, nothing's 100%.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
It's probability.
Right.
So.
Right.
So-
I want to follow up on what Ben said, though, about how you don't really need the education or experience to jump in the room. When I first jumped in the room, I was a novice trader, and the afternoons are a little bit slower. Usually most of our trades are taking place in the morning, but the afternoons we go over the trades that we took in the morning most part, and then we also go over other charts. So you're getting live education daily all throughout the day, and it really helped me as a novice trader take it to the next level, because it was just every single day, like an educational webinar that we're able to provide, going over these stock levels, seeing levels that we see, and you're able to view charts through the eyes of a pro as a novice trader, because you're able to see us then calculate trade levels, break down a chart, whether it's bullish, bearish, or provide other trend lines. It's really invaluable. The trades are fantastic, but the education you get, if you just sit back for the first week as they recommended, and you just observe, each one of us have different trading styles. So it is kind of hard just to jump in straight away and say, I'm going to follow it, but we do make it that easy. We'll give you the entries, we'll give you the exits, but it's all about you on your side executing those trades. And if you're not comfortable doing that, it's so important with a lot of money on the line. Go ahead and get some practice, listen to us, get that education. You're going to be taking home so much just from joining the room.
Yeah, it's basically, you know, the top level. I mean, we have a $250 zone there for people that we understand 400 is a lot, which is what the Apex Live Day Trading Room is, to be in there all day. But again, the amount of education, it's like having a webinar, an educational webinar every day that the market's open for a month for $400. It's like, it's a no-brainer, right?
For hours. I mean,
yeah.
Not just 30 minutes,
And
an hour a day.
and what's so cool from me, guys, so I ran the live day trading room since 2007, and I had my partner Nick, and he's retired now. And I said, well, how do I still keep this going? I can't take it on all myself, so I brought these gentlemen in, who I think every one of you guys was in the trading room first.
Yes.
Yep.
So they've all been in the trading room. They've all taken the Winning Trader series multiple times, most of them. Yeah, because you always pick up something new and it just improves. But they've all developed their own strategies, which for me is huge, because it's bringing more to the table for members as well. Whether it's VWAP, whether it's the overnight hold, right? Whether it's your RSI techniques, the development there, which is really cool. And I know we have Dr. B's VWAP debuting. Yours is
sleeper hold.
Your sleeper hold is going to be debuting in probably the next week or so, I would
Right.
think.
We're really hoping to get it out this week, but as with everything, you know, it's just a little bit more of a delay. And we have a couple other parts to touch up on it, but I'm really excited about it. Having looked at it this last week, everything that I developed in my class, same with Dr. B and what Ben's developing, is all a spawn from the methodology and the Winner Trader series. So that just shows you how powerful that core education is to understanding these other techniques that we do.
Yeah,
Exciting,
super
yeah.
cool.
Excited
So-
to watch it.
And don't forget, guys, 50% off our gift to you guys for the holidays, the Winning Trader series that goes just to the end of Sunday. So you gift 50 is the coupon code, gift 50. And you can get 50% off that Winning Trader series. All right, so let's turn our attention back to the markets here. So we got SMCI, STNE, a couple others, right? And is there anything else? I mean, I'm looking at crypto. I mean, there are some moves on crypto, but I don't know if I'm seeing anything. You know, we were looking at Ripple this morning.
XRP, yep.
It's already starting to pull back. I'm seeing on the daily chart where it's got almost I punched in the wrong symbol there. I did XPR. XRP, let's take a look.
It's actually my trade of the day.
Oh, by the
Exactly.
way, where's that trade of the day? Is in the
Advanced Trader Insights.
There you go, folks. A trade of the day every single day for $20 a month. I do 3 on the weekends. There's cycles analysis, these insider buying and selling. There's education from Dr. B, $20 a month. And we did that on purpose. We packed it so full because the idea is that we understand there are people in other countries, there are people in, there's just, we want to make sure there's something for everyone, right? Yeah, I don't want to exclude anyone from improving their financial condition. And so that one just gives us that beautiful opportunity.
Yeah, it's a boatload of information.
It is.
The amount of reports that we're putting through on ATI every single week, the Advanced Trader Insights, it's remarkable. As Gareth touched on, I do several different reports. I do cycles, abnormal options volume report. One of which, though, that he mentioned was the insider selling report. It's extremely, it gives a lot of insight to what these CEOs and other executives of companies are doing with their share sizes and their positions when the stocks are at all-time highs. For example, if you look on our main page, we do have a spreadsheet showing the amount of insider selling or buying that's taken place over the previous 60 days. You'll notice that there was one day, November 15th, in which we had a spike of insider buying. Aside from that, in the previous 60 days, it's all been insider selling. And when I do these reports, it's just shocking to see all of the money that's being exchanged or at least being dumped by these executives over the past month or two. And they're all doing it when their stocks are at all-time highs. Now, these folks aren't stock traders, but they're not stupid either. They know the inner workings of their company better than any of us do. We can just interpret the charts great, but if they're doing something like that and offloading such large positions, it is a sign and signal to us to pay attention to.
Well, look at what some of the most successful money managers in the world are doing. Warren Buffett, he's mostly in cash, right? There's a huge cash position.
Right.
And so you're seeing all of this unloading here, right? You have the market cycles. You have the accumulation phase, the markup phase, right? The distribution phase. We're probably much closer to the distribution phase where smart money distributes their shares to retail buyers, FOMOing in, at the top with all this retail. With all this euphoria. And I think that's probably what we're starting to see here.
Right.
And what's interesting is, the market is the most bullish at the top, right? And the market is the most bearish at the bottom. So right now I'm seeing all these articles come out and say, all the S&P can run to 7,000 and all these things. But while that may be true, you do have to step back and say, whoa, wait a second, we're overbought right now. There's tons of money coming out of the market, tons of money being distributed potentially to the retail crowd in this euphoric state. So you've got to really step back and think logically instead of emotionally.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the hardest thing to do at highs and lows, right? That's what
is.
greed is the most, and then fear. And this is one chart that, just going to what you said, is so important. So you have your .com. This is using the logarithmic chart, just by the way, but .com high, financial crisis low, right? So arguably the two biggest events, .com bubble high, financial crisis low, and then look at how, literally, where are we trading? Here's your high from 2021 right there. High from 2024 where we currently are, and then look, COVID low, exactly that trend line, bear market low 2022. And so just using logic, I say to myself, okay, I could be emotional and be like, man, this market can go up forever, or I say, well, look at this. I have to go by what the charts are saying, right? And so to me, that means that ultimately, whether we go a little higher or not in the market, there's vulnerability to doing another retrace back to that level. And that would just be your downside. Maybe that breaks, we don't know, but that would be your target zone. And that's actually on the NASDAQ 22% down.
Yeah.
So
right.
I did an article this weekend talking about how I would guess in 2025, I'd be very surprised if we don't at least touch that line in the next year.
Well, what's interesting, so you have the weekly chart up there, is if you were to put the 200 daily weekly moving average, you don't have to now, but you can see that every pullback just about comes down to the 200 weekly moving average, except for the .com crash and the Great Recession, the financial crisis, right? Those both went below the 200 weekly, but just about every major dip over the past 50 years or 100 years comes back to that 200 weekly. What's interesting is the 200 weekly is right at that line that
low.
you're drawing.
Amazing.
And that's very interesting.
That is actually, that's the confluence we always
Yep.
look for as a trader, right?
Yep.
So as a trader mapping it out, now this is more of a swing trader or an investor side, but you would say, okay, well, since we know that this has been the lows, if this does dip, where are we buying, right? I mean, just, people are always like, oh my goodness, it's there, because if we drop 22%, there's going to be more fear and panic and people being like, oh my goodness, it's scary. But when you have factors, the trend line, the 200 MA, you start to say, okay, that shows me historically this is where we should, and again, whether it's a bounce for a month, 2 months, 3 months, or a major low, we don't know, or maybe it breaks down after that, but you should get some sort of bounce right there. All right, we got about 4 minutes until the open, folks, but let's just quickly go over STNE here. I'm seeing it's coming a little bit lower. We're coming down here to about 940. And again, just refresh if I'm incorrect on this, but I'm seeing a gap fill at 927 and double bottom at 908.
906.
906, okay.
Yep.
So those would be, now would you guys play the gap fill, or would you probably, what are we thinking? Do we want to potentially go long at the double bottom or the gap fill?
There's this, so 933, there's a pivot low, but I think it's already hit that, hasn't it, Ben, and bounced there?
pre-market?
Yeah.
No.
No, it hasn't.
No,
So 933, there's a pivot low from, let's see, October 16th, 2023. And so you have a couple levels, 933, 929, or 927, that gap fill. I would probably start to inch in at the gap fill.
At 927.
At 927.
And this would probably, STNE I think is only a 5 billion or 7. I could be wrong, but this would probably be kind of a 1/7-ish position, 1/6 position. Is that what you guys are thinking? Because it's the smaller, basically the smaller the company, the more wild the swings, right? I mean, Apple's not going to swing 20% in a day unless we're crashing in the markets. Stock like this, that's only, let's say, a 10 billion or sub $10 billion market cap, this could swing easily 10 or 20%. So you have to adjust your share size accordingly. Now, the other thing I'm just noticing here, guys, and I don't know if it gets this low, but look at this, guys. Lows here, and then look at this down-sloping trend line, and it kind of comes in right there around 865 to 850. So that would be, I'm not saying it's going down there and there'll be trades ahead of that, but that level to me sticks out now and saying, hey, if it gets down there, that's like a real good money opportunity for a trade. Okay?
Yeah, that would be a 17% drop.
That would be a big drop. Yep.
Apple can get down like 2%. This can get down 17%. Kind of going back to your point of, go a little bit lighter because of the volatility.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm just looking here. So Tesla's not really doing much this morning. It looks like it's slightly positive with the markets. Apple, just kind of, we check in on these big names because these are the ones that really do work well at the technical levels if you get the big enough move. Apple, again, looks like it's fractionally lower from the close. NVIDIA, I think I saw, was up a couple dollars on that semiconductor news here. But yeah, we're just about to open here in about a minute 15, so we'll see if we get some opportunities here, folks, but let's keep these on our radar. We'll be on our trading setups on these laptops. Yes, it is a little harder. I want to be clear that generally we're trading with, huge screens, multiple screens. We're sacrificing it so you guys can all see us right here. But again, we can still trade. It's just a little harder, frankly.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Handicapped or not, I don't mind trading. I started trading on my phone.
Yeah.
So whatever way you can learn, and especially one thing I thought with learning how to trade on my phone was that should the internet go down, should the power go down in your house, Wi-Fi go down. We experience that often, unfortunately, with hurricane storms like that coming through Florida. So I wanted to have a backup to where I could trade no matter what should my computer setup go down. I think it's very important for everybody to at least learn that when they're choosing a brokerage. Make sure you got a good app that you can work with and one that you enjoy and can understand.
And get familiar with it. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that you're familiar with it so that way in a crisis, you're not stuck in a trade that you can't get out of.
Right, because then emotions start to boil up, and that's what all our education and practice is trying to prevent, to make us or to allow us to make clear decisions.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, markets are open. STNE starting to come down here.
Oh, so
940.
Yep.
All right, Archer, we're watching. So 920, what did we say? Gap fill was 926?
Yep.
On STNE.
927.
927, all right.
Yep.
Pennies matter in this game.
Oh yeah.
SMCI, I was going to say, started to come down a little bit more.
Yep.
You got the double bottom pre-market at 28.83 on SMCI.
Yep.
All right.
I may be interested in entering just a little bit earlier, right around 29.50.
On SMCI?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. That way we can space it out. There's a nice level also down at 28.24.
STNE.
We'll see how SMCI
9:30.
trades though. Initially it did kind of come up and then came down. First minute of trading, we're still kind of fluctuating, getting price stabilized.
All right, STNE just hit 930 to the button here. It didn't get to 927. We often joke, partially because in reality is that there's, when we talk about levels ahead of time, there's always a few front runners that are like, oh, well, if they're going to get in there, I'm going to pay up a penny or two and get in.
Yeah, because pennies don't matter to us, right? 3 cents? I mean, come on.
All right, and generally on a trade like STNE, what would you guys be looking for? Like 20 cents on a 10, I mean, it's down $1, 10 cents, 10, 20
I'd say
cents.
20 cents.
Yeah,
Yep.
something like that.
It really
Yeah.
depends on, for me, it depends on the reversal signal. If
Right.
it gives me a good reversal signal, you can let this go for a little bit longer.
Nice.
I'll tell you, I know, Drew, you were looking at the 207 area on deck. I would actually consider entering on that 200 Pierce, like 201.
Okay.
So I'll keep you guys updated if I do.
How's the volume on that this morning?
Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty light, 17,000. So let's see if that picks up. And then Archer, 3 million shares traded so far. Again, that area that I'm looking to start a position, probably 950, and then add around 975.
Yeah, SMCI getting a pop right now is up over 33 bucks. If you flip over to SMH did get a nice pop this morning too. Qs are starting to come in though. They did have a gap up.
STNE back to 946, so that's 16 cents off the lows. So
It's 1.72%.
dude,
Ah,
there it is, right here. You guys can see. Look at that move. Wow, 947. So now this is important. So guys, I'll throw this question to you, and we have questions coming in, so we're going to start taking some questions now. But does this mean that level now is negated?
well, of course.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It was 3 cents, right, to the
Right.
gap
This is
fill.
a kiss. We call it a
It was
kiss of a level, which
So-
is the equivalent of as if it hits, right?
Yep. So now I'd
So-
probably lower my order down to like 910.
Double bottom.
Yeah.
910, 906,
Yeah.
maybe a Pierce of 9. Because
So
I
this-
mean,
This is a
oftentimes,
really
yeah.
important point, folks, is because people have a very one-dimensional view oftentimes, which is like, oh, well, they said that level's good, so then it could be like a week from now, and then people are like, well, he said it was good a week ago, but in reality, everything is fluid within the markets. The best day traders in the world, the best swing traders, understand that levels can be negated, and I say this in the game plan all the time: is you have to be fully aware. And here it comes. Now it's coming down to 933 again on STNE, but we don't want it. We cancel our order and we move it lower to that next level since it already got a bounce off of that, especially when it goes, if it got a 3 cent bounce, not a big deal,
Yeah.
but when it goes to what your expected target was, which was 15, 20 cents, all right, you got the bounce. That we would have been out already.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because every candle close changes the probabilities.
That's right.
So you really have to be aware of that and be nimble and agile to be able to modify your order. Let's say you had an order at 927, you have to cancel that order or modify that to kind of be in the game here.
So I got a question here from Jason J saying, love the content. How do you pick your watch list for a day trading day? What do you guys say
Go
to
with
that?
Tag Heuer or Rolex. Usually, those are mine.
There's the Ben we know.
And-
I like Omega.
and-
Yeah, I'll side
Okay.
with that. Yeah.
Apple Watch is pretty good too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
A little bit more precise.
Depending on what you're going for.
You're looking for your heart
This
rate.
is where I wish my drink was an alcoholic drink. No, I'm just kidding. But no, and in reality, how do you guys, like, when you get up in the morning, how do you guys focus? Where are you focusing? Like, what do you do?
I keep it pretty simple. So I have a list, right? 3 different lists. Market caps 10 billion and above, market caps 1 to 10 billion, and then market caps, a billion below, right, to about 100 million. So I take a look at those lists. I look at the top gainers and losers, maybe the top 3 on each list. That's it. That's how I find my stocks that I'm trading.
And why do you choose the biggest gainers and the losers?
Because typically, if a stock is down really big, you're going to find that rubber band effect on the bounce, and that's what we're trying to catch is that bounce.
Volatility. We need volatility.
Volatility,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to be trading a stock that's up or down 1 or 2%.
That's, by the way, that's not to say it's the wrong way, but there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I only trade the S&P or I only trade this. And in my head, I'm like, well, that means like how many days out of the year is the S&P really volatile, right? Versus if you have a basket of stocks, and listen, we don't even trade small and micro caps. Like that's not even our purview, but you still have tons, 1,000 stocks or whatever to choose from that could be volatile.
Yeah.
And as long as you know how to read the candlesticks, you can trade them.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's applicable to all charts, all tickers,
Right.
So when I first got started, actually went on because I knew I was going to be a day trader. I went to the live day trading room track record, and then I entered all of those stock tickers inside of TradingView and created my watch list there. And then when I'm in there, you have the ability to go on extended trading hours, and then I cycle kind of what Dr. B does, the top movers, like as far as percentage goes, on the upside. So if there's stocks that are moving 7, 8, 12, 15%, those will be at the top of the list. And so I know to check those out and see if there's any any resistance levels. And then on the flip side, you hit that AXT button again, and then it'll take you to the ones that are dropping the most. And that's where STNE came in because it was down 9%. And then I just look for my levels after that. But it's all coming from the live day trading room. And when people mention certain stocks inside of the questionnaire, then I add that to my list as a potential for a future trade. And so then you just slowly build your list like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's what I do.
Great.
So just turning our attention back, so it looks like we Stone bounced back up after pulling back to 950. So again, that didn't go any lower. What about is SMCI doing anything, or is it not really
No,
moving?
it's kind of floating right around 32.50 and 33. It did pierce 33. It's starting to come in just a tad, but not with any velocity.
Let me ask you a question, Drew. You were looking at SMCI to trade. Would there ever be a point where you're like, oh well, screw it, I'm going to trade it anyways?
No. Well, I guess it's not a permanent no. But what the education in the methodology the Winter Trader series has taught me is that there's always another trade. I don't need to force myself to get into a trade. I want the charts to show me that I need to get into that trade. I need the charts to tell me I have to get into the trade. In a situation like this with SMCI kind of going up and down, it's not presenting a pattern. It's not presenting a bull flag scenario where if we don't hop on here, we could lose out on the next leg up. It's not presenting a bear flag pattern. It's simply chopping back and forth. So I'm not going to just throw my hands up in the air and say, fine, whatever, I'm just going to get in. I'm going to have the discipline to wait for my level. And if my level doesn't hit, that's okay. There's thousands of other stocks that levels are hitting right now. So it's a matter of me finding those stocks and moving on. It's very important to keep in mind the levels I have already isolated, but like Doc has mentioned, every little candle that gets printed is like another little piece of the puzzle, if you will. It helps us understand more and more what the direction is likely to do for that stock. So just because a level doesn't get hit, doesn't mean that I'll never trade that stock again. It needs to present another opportunity or pattern that compels me to get in.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Any other things popping up? I know it's a slow half day in the markets, but are we seeing anything else?
Archer initially pulled back at the open. ACHR is the ticker. So this is about a $4 billion company, and again, coming into that upsloping trend line that Gareth was saying, we're getting close to the highs of the day and about 8% from that level. So really, I'm really not getting into this until I see that level come close, at least, right? And then I'll zoom into the 1-minute charts. That's typically where I live, and I look for wedge patterns. I look for a variety of other things, and so if we get close to that level on the daily chart, and then start to form a reversal pattern on the 1-minute time frame, then I'll enter on the short side.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I did see another question at one point pop up real quick that talked about, so we're talking day trading here, but let's say there's a lot of people out there that are watching that probably can't day trade, right? They got a 9 to 5, they got to focus on that, they can't be glued to their screen. So everything we're doing, is that applicable to larger time frames, like as a swing trader, as an investor?
Same concept.
Same concept,
Same
right?
concepts
Like
on
a
the
bear
charts.
flag on a 10-minute chart or a 1-minute chart is a
Topping
bear
tails,
flag.
bottoming tails,
Yep.
time counts.
I think
same
that's the
thing.
coolest thing about it,
Yeah,
right? Is that
yeah.
it's you want to trade crypto, you want to trade stocks, commodities, forex. It's all the same
It is.
because it's human emotion, and human emotion doesn't matter the asset. Greed and fear is greed and fear.
Right.
That's the beauty of it.
Right.
It's a universal language. Once you learn it, you have it for for a lifetime. So
Yeah.
And oftentimes on a bigger time frame, it can actually be a lot more powerful, and you can see a lot bigger moves too.
Yeah, it's just fascinating when you do start to understand how charts flow with the pattern, the time counts. Every time frame you select, whether it's 10-minute, 1 hour, daily, weekly, monthly, they present different patterns even on the same stock. So it's fascinating to study it so that you can understand, just like what Ben mentioned, the larger time frames are typically more powerful. So the shorter time frames may get a quicker reaction. So it's important to distinguish those and understand the difference. But that's stuff we do, and it almost acts just like a second nature. Once you learn it, like Doc said, it's kind of like a language. You end up becoming fluent in reading the stocks. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, perfect. The other thing, we have one, Dr. B's going to look at a chart here in a second, but I'm seeing John W. saying, what's your favorite indicator or indicators? That's a great question. So for me, I don't use a whole lot. Occasionally I look at the RSI, but I'm a big fan of just drawing trend lines, looking for patterns, gap fills and all that kind of stuff. But Ben, I know you've got this new technique, and I'm pushing them to get that course out because it's so freaking amazing. On the RSI, I assume that's your main one? Is that your go-to?
So I toggle between that one and what I see is a kind of a reversal signal. So part of what I've been doing is, it's not even an indicator as far as what's on in trading view. It's my own indicator that I have to actually witness happen, but it gives you a better idea of where the tops are and the bottoms are, and so it allows us to target that for a bigger move. And that's what I was saying earlier, right? If depending on how the move gets in there, I will take a smaller position on a smaller stock like HIMS, for example, and I'll let that ride for a lot longer period of time.
You let that one just go straight up?
or down, depending on which reversal signal we get.
Gotcha. Okay,
That's right.
fair enough.
But yeah, I do like the RSI. I think a lot of people have an idea of how to read the RSI. They think that being under 30 is oversold, and above 70 is overbought, and so they make their trading decisions based on that. And I think there's a lot more complexity to
awesome.
the relative strength indicator.
There is.
I would
And
agree
I've been
with you.
trying to
Yeah.
learn a whole bunch from this guy. I have the privilege of sitting next to him and just talking to him daily about RSI. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and that
great.
course, when that comes out, that's going to be pretty cool.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
What did you want to show us here,
it's a
Dr. B?
perfect segue into what I was going to show you here. So let me just go back to the daily chart, right? So this is the line that Gareth drew. Okay, this upsloping trend line here. You have this horizontal.
On Archer.
On Archer, right? So you have this horizontal resistance line here, kind of converging in the same area. So what do I do on the 1-minute chart? So my favorite indicator is VWAP, okay? And so VWAP is volume weighted average price. This is where all the institutions, most of the institutions are putting their orders, okay? Large hedge funds, market makers, institutional traders. So if you can see this, and I teach this in my course, which should be coming out soon, right? This is where, if you're above VWAP, the bulls are in control, clearly, right? Here's the move up. If you're below VWAP, the bears are in control. And so what I'm seeing here is a strong stock above VWAP, upsloping VWAP, and then what I'm waiting for is for this chart here to come up into this price, to come up into this yellow line, okay? And what I'll see here is that price is so extended away from VWAP, I'll say, okay, it's far enough away. I'm going to enter a mean reversion trade. Likely price is going to come up here and come back to VWAP most likely at some point in the day. It's kind of like a moving average where that moving average is a magnet in many ways, and it comes back to that level and then comes back up.
I think one of the cool things about VWAP is like pretty much you talk to John Q. Public out there, and they're like, oh yeah, I have my moving averages.
Right.
VWAP is like the institutional secret.
It is.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's what's so cool, and that's why your course is going to be really, really interesting because of that. And then not only can you do, and I've seen you do this, not only do you play the mean reversion, but then you'd also buy VWAP if it comes. So if it falls into VWAP, you flip that short around into a long.
And there's a couple criteria for that, right? It'll all be in the course. But there's really a lot, a lot to it. And this wasn't something that was used for a long time. And I think about 10 to 15 years ago, there was a lot of people starting to talk about it, write books about it. And it's very helpful. And it really helps us with our profit-taking levels, right?
Yeah.
On the long and the short side. So anyway, very interesting there.
Nice.
Archer, let's see if we get up here around the 950.
STNE coming back in, but again, unless it really flushes, I'm not interested as a day trade. Let me see here, what else? We do have, by the way, I know we have literally like 200 to 300 questions. So we're going to go through questions, but let's do it on like a stop clock. So like just boom, 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 so we can get more out of here. So I'm seeing, so Karen T saying it seems so fast paced. So would a fairly newbie be able to follow and keep up with day trading? What do you guys think?
I think it's going to take some time, right? I mean, you can't expect to come in and, make, $10,000, $100,000 your first day, right? You have to join the group, spend several months, and then you're going to get your, your feet stabilized.
But at the same time, I think we do have people that come in and they're like, hey, I just made the monthly in a day, right?
Sure.
Because this is the kicker, right? Is so you need to know your trading platform.
Yeah.
That's where we can't make you learn your trading platform. In the trading room, the key is, for me at least, is that like literally as much as like 5 or 10 minutes, we're like, hey guys, we're watching this level on this stock. And we will say, okay, if it gets to this price, this is where I'm going to enter. And so, to be honest, you have a lot of time to essentially set your order up and get in.
Yeah,
correct.
And that's one thing. Listen, that's one thing that we do on purpose is we try to give you guys such a big heads up. So that, and then by the way, the second we get in that trade, we're like, all right, guys, we're looking for 50 cents or 75 cents or $1, so that you already know. So the idea is you have to learn your trading platform, which buttons to click, what's buy, what's sell short, how to do all that stuff, and figure out your position size. But we will literally give you your entries and exits. And generally, I would say only maybe 1 out of every 10 trades is like super fast. Right, where it's like, hey guys, we just got in. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, guys, we're out. Like that.
Yeah, it takes several minutes.
It's very unusual versus most trades. I'd say we're in 5, 10, 15, 20 X somewhere in a day for the whole day. Right.
Several hours.
Yeah. So again, I think that while understanding the methodology takes time. And your platform can take time, but once you have that, man, we give you the keys to the castle.
Yeah, and it's not just the platform, right? It's understanding how to navigate TradingView while navigating your brokerage account, right? So it's a lot all at once, and that's where you're going to have to spend several months or several weeks. You might be a quicker learner, and then once you understand that, you can come into the room, or you can learn while you're in the room, right? It's just going to take a little time, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely. All right, STNE back to 930, so it's almost at the lows. We'll keep an eye on it if it keeps flushing. But again, the volatility's already starting to die out. This is the tricky. By the way, this is why we didn't have the day trading room today, because we kind of figured it would be slower. It's more of a way for us to kind of walk you guys that maybe aren't members at Verified Investing, whether it's a swing trade service or the day trading, through things, because it just is a little bit slower. There's no doubt about it.
Today is slower,
today specifically, yeah. Just because again, it's a half day. Everyone's probably a little lethargic.
Sleepy from eating turkey.
Turkey, right?
Wired to go 3 games of football.
Yes, and folks were talking here in the office how the commute was very light this morning because a lot of folks aren't working. So
sleeping in probably a little bit. Yeah, drank a little bit much maybe. All right, Paula saying, I love to watch my favorite traders together. It's been 1 year. I took the Winning Traders series, a blessing in my life, and almost 6 months I am both in the crypto service, really learning so much and also profiting with Professor Gareth. I learned to take profits and not swing for the fences, singles and doubles. No one ever goes broke taking a profit. The Lord is good. Well, thank you, Paula. Thank you. That's very kind. I do appreciate that. Babak saying, why don't you day trade small cap stocks? Aren't they more volatile compared to large caps? What do you guys think about that?
Yes, absolutely.
They're way more volatile.
Yes, yeah.
But remember, so, and again, I'll let you guys comment on this and we'll keep it quick. But for me, I used to, when I started trading, I traded small caps because I was like, well, how do I get rich the fastest? Well, guess what? I got poor the fastest. You know, because it's so momentum driven and there's so few, like you don't have the big money involved, so they can blow through a short level like crazy and make you go broke, and they can keep going down like 80-90%. And so I don't have an edge. My edge is when you get a majority of the investing world to be in a stock like an Apple or something like that, and then the levels really work. And for me, that's the key. But what about you guys, quick?
100% agree. Yep, the larger market cap's going to have the more predictable patterns, and that's what we're trying to do to give ourselves that edge that Gareth mentioned.
Right.
The smaller caps, you could have 1 player, 2 players, 3 players that have a ton of money or a large position and just decide they want to exit. It could take them several days to exit, and that would drive that price down tremendously, going straight through those levels, just like Gareth said. So while you can make a lot of money on the small caps, you can also get burnt really hard, and we're in this for the long game. I'm not trying to close my portfolio anytime soon. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with
and
the
I
best
think
odds.
one of the issues with the small caps and the micro caps or even the OTCs is that there's much less liquidity, right? So you can get caught in something and not be able to get out, or while you're trying to get in or out, you're moving the stock. So you have to be very in tune with the volume, the relative volume of the stock. Speaking of which, I'm looking at STNE here for a long entry, right around this 925. We're forming a wedge pattern, a falling wedge pattern. So it'll be
So let's bring this back, because we just talked about how the double bottom was not until about 908. So what's making you say, okay, this is interesting?
So the probabilities have changed here, right? So I'll pull up the chart over here on STNE. I'll show you what I'm looking at, and this is what we do in the trading room, right? So I'll be calling this out, saying, hey, I'm taking a look at this level, right? So the gap fill is somewhere around here, okay? About what did we say, Ben? 927?
927.
Yeah, so right about here. However, let me just make sure I get the proper line here. Okay, so let's just say that we have our gap fill right here. Okay. Well, what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing a downsloping trend line on the downside, right, on the lower side, and a downsloping trend line forming this wedge pattern. So what I'd be looking to do is enter somewhere around here, right? Somewhere here, or maybe even a pierce. Maybe put my order right there and look for a move higher, because these wedge patterns, they create this FOMO, right? Traders see this, they see, oh, it's getting ready to break out, boom, they buy. And we see this every day.
Yeah.
Every single day we see this. So I'm looking for an entry, again, right here around this 923 area.
Nice.
Even though it has pierced that area, the probability
But now,
change.
because of the wedge forming, that's changing. And this
Take
is
a look
again,
at ACHR.
Let's take a look here.
And guys, again, it's all about seeing, like, so the chart as it creates these new candles is creating new pieces of the puzzle, and
Correct.
that's why Dr. B's now like, oh wait, there is something here possibly popping up.
Right.
So speaking of wedges, so Archer Aviation, just formed a 1-minute topping tail, some volume there, a little very thin wedge pattern. So right around this 945, I initially thought about not entering 950. Things changed, but let's see. I really want a candle close to the downside here, showing a little weakness here.
There's a little divergence in the 1 minute.
And
The
on the
RSI.
RSI, yep. Okay. So being patient. I still like the 975 area.
SMCI is at just under 32. Almost is retesting some of the pivots there pre-market that occurred right around 31.08. There's a strong level of support at $30.84, but since price did get down under that pre-market, I'm going to be conservative and play this safely. So still waiting around 29.50 for it.
Nice here. ACHR. I'm just bringing up the ACHR because we had those trend lines before, and I want to just, again, show. So look at that. So, by the way, one of the cool things about this is that on this chart, I apologize there. There we go. Appreciate that. So notice how it's almost into that first little lower trend line. And so one of the positives too is by using charts, you don't get lured into trying a short. Like because there's a lot of people that'll be just like they'd look at this and say, oh, it's just up a lot, so why don't I just short? Because it's got to come back in, right? Well, in reality, when you have a level right in here, you say, hey, don't do it. Wait for the technicals to align, and we're getting close now. It's pulling back a little bit, but it's at least it's a lot higher now than it was when it opened. It was below $9. Now it's at $9.50, just like that.
And I'm even seeing that second pivot high is actually a little off that trend line's off that.
Maybe a little higher.
No, the upsloping trend line.
Oh,
there.
okay. Should
So
be
right
down
there,
just a little bit.
Yeah, just be down a little bit, and I think you're right into that trend line. See that right there?
So that's like the first level.
Yeah.
Yep.
So first level tag
Yep.
right there.
So
yeah.
I'm looking here. I'm watching.
Oh, it's pushing up again here. 960s.
I'm just being patient.
I like the even number at 10 too, just because you have that even number. We use that even number to our advantage
Sure.
quite a bit. You have that kind of blow off the stop. So what ends up happening is a lot of people will put, like if they're short already, they'll put a stop right above that line at $10 because they'll be like, okay, well if it gets to $10, I got to just cut it at that point. And then this is subconscious that they just all, like so many people will just do that. And so the idea is you want price to ram into that, take those people out, and then it pulls back.
So zoom out.
Okay.
Zoom out big time. Go to the all-time high.
All the way back here?
Yeah, take a fib extension.
Oh, don't even tell me now. Is it going to be an awesome fib here?
Ooh.
Are you messing with me, Ben?
I think
Now
it's going
take
to
it
be
to the
about a
all-time low.
0.5.
Oh my gosh.
There it is.
Wow. Right up here's the 10.
Right.
10,
See, that's cool. That's the, what is that, the 618?
So now,
No, that's the 50%.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a
it's a
50%.
0.5.
That's a big one.
so now what do you have? You have a multi-factor trade.
Yeah,
you
this is now
have
3 things, right?
2 trend lines, probably an overbought RSI on the daily,
Fib,
right? A fib.
even number.
And even number, right?
Yep.
So there's so many things here.
That's
for
a high
short.
percentage, folks.
I mean-
That's, again, yeah, that would be one where you'd assume it would be north of 80% success rate.
Yeah.
And again, now does
But
that
you
mean...
have to wait for your level.
Right, yeah, you don't jump in here, right? I mean, we could, and you might be able to make money there, but really, this is your zone. Like here, probably win rate at 60, 65%, which isn't horrible, but for us as traders, I don't really want to be in a trade where 6 out of every 10 times I'm in the money, 4 times. It's just it's too stressful. So the idea is if it gets up here, and we're all okay missing trades. Missing trades is part of the game. I'll miss a zillion trades a year, right? It's the ones that you catch that are as stress-free as possible. But I think that still goes to show is like, I don't want people saying, well, it's an 80% or 85% success rate, so I'm going to go all in. Anything can fail at any point, so you still abide by your discipline in terms of your money management. And that is really important, right? It's all about singles and doubles. I saw a question about that with singles and doubles, right? You want to go to the Hall of Fame with an 80% success rate, hitting singles and doubles, and you'll be a millionaire.
Yep.
The math works out.
It's also
Yeah,
up
again, it's a
17% on the day.
So
That's a
right?
big
So,
move.
sorry guys. So speaking of which, we just broke an upsloping trend line here. So probabilities have changed a bit, right? So now I'm looking at the 949 level, and if it goes against us, oh, here it comes. Look at this. Here
Oh,
it comes
what a
down on
pullback.
Archer.
So it hit that first line, is pulling back.
Yep.
That doesn't mean it won't go back up later and tag that $10 level.
Yeah, of course.
But there you go. First level, it is causing it to pull back. Very cool.
So let's see. Maybe 945 I would consider an entry here. Let's see what happens.
So you're looking for now a retrace for that wedge. Is it a
Yep.
wedge? that
All
you're
right,
looking-
so 947. I'm short here on a 1/10 position.
All
on
right, we got a
NCHR.
trade. I'm going to go to the, are you on the 1 minute?
And to your point, Gareth, right? If it comes up to that $10 even number, I can always add.
Add, right.
I can always add.
And
right?
what size, share size, what was the?
1/10.
1/10. So 1/10 because it's a very risky trade. It's not at the highest probability level. But
Right.
that's the key right there.
It's still another 5.5% higher that it can
Right,
go.
so you have to be able to weather the storm when you have
maneuverability.
these levels.
That's it. Now, what am I looking here for a profit-taking area? Somewhere about, let's say 40 cents, right? And so there's a variety of reasons why I'm saying that. VWAP is one of them. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, we
Starting
can
to
follow
look
it
weak.
right here. So here it is right now. So you can see it had the reversal. I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were probably looking at a break like here.
That's it. Yep.
Yep, right there. And
Prior
then
bar low there, the break.
there's
yeah,
your little wedge on the 1 minute chart.
Yeah.
And then again, this will be resistance right up here again. So if it comes back up into there, that'll be resistance. And then the idea is a roll over here.
Yeah. All right, so now we're slightly out of the money.
It's just retesting that level.
Yep.
Ooh, SMCI's got a nice inverse head and shoulders on the 1 minute.
Ooh. All right, look at that. Thought we get nothing today, but there's always a something, right?
I think
No,
that's
we have 15 seconds. Sorry, guys.
yeah.
The
I
day
think
after.
we'll stay. We were going to go to 10, guys. We'll stay on longer. Plus, I want to do more questions. I'm going to do questions while we're in this trade, but
All
Dr.
right.
B, please interrupt
Okay.
if anything big is going on with the trade. Let me see here. David S. saying, using AI to constantly, I'm using AI to constantly search for charts for great setups. Using your methodology seems like a huge time saver. Are you all taking advantage of this? We kind of are at this point because we have an AI system that we're in the process of building. So the answer is yes. We have a scanner now that if you're part of the live day trading room, you actually get access to it. It's the $400 group though, just so you guys, it's an added bonus. But yes, we are in the process and we're continuing to use AI. I mean, it's amazing, man. It is amazing.
Yeah, might as well use it. It's a new tool, and
New tool.
it's working great.
It saves us. I mean, it's a time saver and it gets us more opportunities. No brainer.
Right.
All right.
And a lot of our members use it without us.
Oh, it's great. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
I just took that trade off the scanner with the topping tail, made $500. Yep.
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. The live day trading room with all the members with the extra set of eyes to find the levels. The AI scanner is doing the same thing. So, and it doesn't take breaks. It
So
doesn't take
Archer
bathroom
coming
breaks.
down here.
No, he doesn't.
Starting to come in. So Dr. B, and again, you said around 40 cents, give or take. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, well, indicators are changing, right? So I'm slowly moving my profit-taking area up. So at this point, probably about 35 cents, I'd say.
Okay.
Still a good pullback.
Yeah. So let's see here.
All right.
Now the thing is, we may be putting in a bull flag right there. You see that? So now, you have to look at all of the angles here,
Yep.
and now we may have a changing probability to the upside. So if it comes down, pulls back, great. We take our profit. If it moves higher, we know our ad levels, and we just work through the trade.
Yeah, I see a question here from Ellen or Elon saying, I don't think it's Elon Musk, though, spelled differently.
No,
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, man, everyone's got a trade.
Come on aboard, yeah.
We could use it.
If everyone followed technical analysis, would it still be effective? The answer is not as effective. The positive is, and people always ask us about the methodology, like, oh, if everyone learns your methodology with all those things, would it not work anymore? And the answer is yes, it wouldn't work anymore, or certainly not as well. The beauty of it is that it actually takes some effort, and most people are too lazy. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, I think so.
So the beauty of it is those people that put in, just like Dr. B, how much schooling did you have to go through to be a
A
doctor?
long time.
A long time, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that can do and go through that and study as much as you did to become a doctor. And so it weeds out a lot of people that aren't going to be able to do it, which means I'm never worried about too many people learning it. Because, I mean, it would have to be a huge amount
Good point. Yeah.
of learning to do it. So
That and everybody sees it different, right? So you can look at a chart and you can see support, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to see that and think, oh, it's the same support. Right? Because I'm going to draw my trend lines a little bit different than him. We don't have this guaranteed, perfect level for this downsloping trend line that it's going to hit exactly here and fill with this gap. No, there's just so many different lines, so many different charts that, yeah, I think it could actually make it a little bit more effective if everybody had the exact thing, because then those gap fills, everybody's filling that gap, then it would actually push it up. And
Even
if
higher.
it drops in there.
yeah.
Interesting theory.
So I'm just keep reading out some questions. MJ saying, I'm an intermediate trader. I want to join to get the picks as I can't look at it all. What's a better package for me? And do you trade options or only stocks? So number one, we have a $250 option.
Yep.
It entitles you to, you won't be able to ask us questions, and then you get 2 trades a day. Once 2 trades are closed out for the day, then your stream gets shut down. The $400 people get access unlimited. They get access to the scanner, to the questions, the Q&As type stuff. So it's really up to you. If you're someone who's like, hey, I got to go to work by 10:30 in the morning, then the 250 probably makes sense.
Probably perfect.
If you're someone who wants to be there, I mean, some days we have 8 trades in a day. We had, I think
Right.
we went, what did we go, 6 for 6 just the other day on Monday.
Incredible.
So it's really up to personal preference. I think the obvious one is the 400 makes more sense, especially when one trade can pay that or more
Right.
from the entire thing.
Yeah.
But again, it's each personal preference. And again, do you want access to the scanner and so on and so forth? But I think the beauty of the trading room is sometimes we have 2 winners in the books in the first 30 minutes.
Right.
And
then you go golf.
Yeah, I mean, if that.
Yeah,
really,
we joked a
sounds good
lot
to
about
me.
it over the holidays. Yeah,
Yeah.
most recently, especially when we've had 8 or 9 trades in a day. Yeah, we've been talking about hitting the range.
Yeah, that's
Well, I
true.
think the idea, right, is that let's say that one of us has three trades, right, in the morning. We can go off to the range, right, and then if you have 3 trades, you'll see me there. And then by that point, if we
That's
all
12
have
trades,
it, there's
yeah.
12 trades.
12 trades. But
we're in
it's
good
not just,
shape.
it's just not, but the key is too, it's just
We're
not
kidding, but-
trades.
It was winning
It's
trades.
winning trades.
Winning
So,
trades.
that's right.
so yeah, if we ever have 12 winning trades in a day, 3 from each of us, let's do it, man.
Yeah,
We'll
all right.
close down for that day. And
All
so
right.
Good to go, man. All right, let's see here. So we are seeing Archer inching up a tiny bit here, but not
Yep.
doing much.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is, at a 1/10 position, you are
was gonna
in
say.
charge. You're like
Sitting back
You're
and
almost like, I
relaxed.
hope it goes. Like, I think that's the crazy thing is
We
sometimes you're
do.
like, man, you know, if it plays out here, I'm only going to make 500 or 700 or 800 or $1,000 versus, hey, if I get another couple entries, when it does pull back, I can make 5,000.
Because now my position's larger, I have a better average,
That's right.
So when it does have that big pullback, because Archer's up like 20% today, right?
Yeah.
So a 2, 3, 4, 5% pullback is not out of the question at all.
Absolutely. All right, Arif saying, no question for now. Just wanted to say thank you. You've been amazing on you shaping me as a trader, and thank you. Well, thank you, buddy. That's so cool, man. I love that stuff. That's it's amazing to hear. And again, for those of you watching the stream, you know, I think it's on YouTube later. It'll be posted. But comments, we always appreciate comments. You know, we make it sometimes look easy, but it certainly isn't easy.
No.
I mean, and it's stressful. We understand people are following what we say, and we always try to we always perform at our top level, which requires a lot of focus and energy.
That's
Sure
the
does.
hardest part is that people are following our trades.
Right.
If we're just trading our own accounts, it's so much easier.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. You don't worry about people. You know, yeah, exactly.
There's another level of responsibility that you want to make sure everybody does well on the trade. You
Right.
know? You don't want to throw out losing trades. And knock on wood, we've got.
And
Very
inevitably
great
those
record.
will happen, but we are, you know, our track record speaks for itself. Yeah, no doubt
Right.
about it.
Right.
So I'm getting close to an ad here on Archer, right? So this 9, I'm seeing something around 985. I might lower my order a little bit. Let's see. So up to 980 now. So I'm trying to have it push as high as I
Nice.
can to get the best average possible, right?
I think it's going to pierce 10.
Yeah, it
I think
might.
it's
It might.
destined here. 982.
So at that point, you know what? Maybe
Would you do a 2/10 at that point?
I think maybe I'll add it like 985, and then again at maybe
There you go,
1005 or
10:05. Yeah,
1010.
that makes sense. Very nice. Let me see here. Spiders, by the way, S&P is just in total float mode here.
All right, so I've
Somewhat
added here
predictable.
at 980. 980 I've added.
980. Okay. All right, so add a 1/10. So now it's
Another 1/10.
basically a 1/5 or a 2/10 position. Still gives lots of maneuverability. But now if it does pull back, there's some serious money to be made. And what you're watching here is a trader actually manage that position, because we know trades don't always go just perfectly, just like they're supposed to go. And this is important. This happens to us all.
Yep. So average now is 963, right? So 963. We're about 10 cents out of the money, 7 cents out of the money here. Getting a pullback off that 980 area.
Beautiful, 969. Let me scan here. Apple, I'm seeing it up slightly on the day. Wow, Ripple today up at 175.
I saw that. Incredible. Incredible.
It's almost 100 billion market cap, I think, now.
Nvidia's having
Really?
a nice day,
100 billion.
up 2.6%. Just basically right out of the gate started pushing up.
Yeah, it's a good move on it.
Probably off the news of less restrictions. That report from Bloomberg,
Yep.
less restrictions potentially selling to China. But again, that was just a report. It wasn't confirmation.
Well, the semis, notice how the semis were so weak the
Yes.
prior days. It's almost like someone said, wow, man, these things are too weak. Us big institutions need to unload a little bit more before we let this thing really fall.
Right? You could be right. And if now is a good time, I'd love to show that chart too.
Yeah, go
on
for it.
SMH. While
That's a
you're maybe
scary
pulling-
chart, man.
Right.
I mean, if it, listen, we don't know if it's going to play out, but that head and shoulders, woo!
Yeah, it is. Oh, you even got it drawn on here too. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so what I want to highlight here also, if you look here on the SMH, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more on the daily chart, but I've been noticing this most recently. Is it already? Yeah. Oh, here we go. So you see this pattern with this pivot high that was placed right here on the SMH. And this is the daily chart, all right? Look at this pattern that's come down, and we've created a bear flag. Now, a bear flag insinuates that further price movement or price movement in the future is going to be going down. So, but price action on Wednesday, you notice that it did get underneath this low pivot. But what happened towards the end of the day, price ended up moving higher and closing above that low pivot. So it saved this bear flag. So in essence, if price would have closed underneath here, we would have been very vulnerable for continued downside. Since we did close back within this pivot, now it presents the opportunity for price action to move back up, potentially at the very minimum get back up into this area, the higher end of the bear flag, before then making a decision. And as we've highlighted earlier, every single candle is another piece of the puzzle for us to interpret. And so, but still, right now, this is still bearish price action in SMH, even though it did have some positive news. Now, Gareth highlighted this, this head and shoulder pattern that is just massive here on the charts. And you can see it here with the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. I also have another area that I like to point out because I think this is equally as powerful. And it's right, there we get those, and right here, connecting this level through these closes. You see there's a major red candle here, there's a major down red candle here, and another major red candle here on the chart. And I didn't draw it exactly straight, forgive me, but you'll notice that this level 2 is coming up right here. So should this bear flag break, support will be right here, before then it potentially falls to come down and retest this neckline. So important to watch out on SMH.
And I think the crazy thing is this is such a big one that, and again, there's, you know, sometimes head and shoulders patterns fail, but if it doesn't fail, the downside target's like 50% lower than where current price is. And I always say to people, like, you know, just keep that in mind that if that happens, the old saying is where the semis go, the markets will follow. Right. So I mean, that would be crazy.
Yeah, and
when
you know,
the semis fail, you better bail. You know,
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's the saying.
One thing to note here is that this is basically a semi-driven or tech-driven
It's
rally,
been
right?
an AI-driven market.
So it's really important to chart the SMH, chart the NASDAQ.
Right.
If you pull up the NASDAQ and draw a parallel on that, I'll show you a couple things here. I'm about break even on Archer. So looking at this point for about 30 cents if we drop. But pull up the NASDAQ, Drew. Take a look at this, and this is why I think you know, we may be close to a top. We'll see. Always difficult to tell. So in the money now on Archer, about 958 here.
I mean, guys, this too is in the spirit of our promo and also in the spirit of Black Friday. Don't blow it, grow it. Look how high we are on the charts right here. We were just on SMH, right? And SMH is down here, right? And then the highs is over here. We don't want to, what do you do on Black Friday? Or what do most people do? And now it's the entire week. They're trying to go out and get discounts. You're trying to buy products at discounts. Who's buying the markets up here? That shouldn't be something you're wanting to buy on Black Friday, especially because markets are near their all-time high. If you would have just gone back a few weeks, we have, in essence, that Black Friday discount that you're looking for. So you want to be buying the market on these support levels and not when they're up at the all-time highs. Could you miss a move? Could price push up higher? Yeah, absolutely. But you're not getting that good deal. Who wants to go buy those jeans for $200 when you can get them for $50? So,
Great point. Hey, so Archer in the money nicely here.
Yeah.
Just waiting for a follow through here. So again, I'm looking for about 30 cents on this trade. Our average is 963. Okay, so being patient here.
This is beautiful. So I assume that's
VWAP, that's likely the area where I'm going to get close to taking profits.
Which makes sense, right? Because
Yeah.
it's using that methodology from the VWAP course that you're going to be releasing soon. And yeah, we just have a bunch of education coming out. We have a gold course too. I think it's about a 10-hour course delving into every nuance of gold.
Way, 10 hours.
And that'll hopefully be out by early January or something like that. So I just got a message here. I'm looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at 99. So
oh, wow, awesome.
So yeah, we're starting and oh yeah, Dr. B, here it comes. Archer coming in.
Being patient here, being patient. This is a bearish.
What was that VWAP at? Was approximately?
VWAP was around, well, you know what? Hang on one second. Let's see if I can. There it is. About 922 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
on VWAP.
and I was just mentioning, the only reason I brought that up is you can see this little bit of a base right here, which is kind of right in that same zone right there, too, which is very cool. All right, but let's go to Bitcoin real quick. I'm sure there's a lot of crypto players out there, and we love you guys, too. You guys are awesome. So if we look at Bitcoin here, So this was one of the things I harped on. Everyone makes me out to be a bear, but I'm just a trader, right? And so one of the things, if we flip over to Bitcoin, one of the things I've said is that as long as Bitcoin holds this shelf, then it's actually bullish, right? So this is just a retest of a breakout, and then you should push up. The 100K even numbers are made to be broken. Now, how high above it goes, that's the question. Is it 1,000 Pierce? I still think 107 to 108,000 is where it's headed. But again, just classic TA that when it dumped out here, by the way, MicroStrategy stopped buying your $3 billion right here, just a note there. So there was a little air pocket once they stopped. But
sorry to cut you off, Gareth. I just exited 945 on Archer, 945 on Archer.
There we go.
All right, Doc.
So what was
right.
so explain to us quickly, we'll come back to Bitcoin in a minute. Explain to us quickly why you exited there versus letting it play out a little bit further.
Well, I kind of have an idea of how much I'm looking to take per trade, and so if you look at how much this is up on the day, around 20%, this is about a 3.5, almost 4% pullback from the highs, right?
Gotcha.
So we talk about the 10% rule. This was over that. It's starting to be a little, getting close to some support here. So I think that's a solid.
Just to play it safe.
Yeah,
Essentially,
play it safe.
no one goes broke taking a profit.
That's right.
Right.
That's
Yep.
right.
Well, you
So-
also had a bigger position as
I
well.
had a bigger
and
position,
that's
exactly.
1/5.
The
Right.
1/5.
So
instead of
1/5
1/10.
based on we trade essentially with $1 million portfolio, so that means it was a $200,000 position right there. And again, that's a nice gain on.
So 1.85% on 200,000,
Yeah.
almost $4,000.
Yeah, absolutely, fantastic. You can't go wrong with, just basically paid for your all your Black Friday shopping.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, folks,
depends on who's
that's
wife's
why.
shopping, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's why we talk about the name of today was "Don't Blow It, Grow It," with the idea of that. Everyone always wants to go out and spend money, spend money, spend money, but oftentimes, you want to create or create that money by trading or investing smartly. Build your financial future so that you're not going negative. When people go out and spend and they have that $3,000, $2,000, $1,000 credit card bill, it comes right out of savings. Well, instead, make that money. Make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and then go spend $2,000. Sure. At least you're net positive still, right?
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
the beauty of it. So far, so good on the exit. Nice job. Going back to Bitcoin, guys, again, it is 98.5 here. So again, the thought process, and I'll just show this. This was a discovery I made last week, and I'm always analyzing the charts. I'm like, where is that upside target? And we can see again, you have your 2017 high to this high to this high, and again, the only reason why I think this is a secure line, because notice it touches the exact high here and here, but here it pierced in the early highs in 2021. The reason why that line works for me is because it matches perfectly with the low end here, right? So that parallel, one of the reasons parallels are so important is because they give you this ability to kind of decipher when you have a good trend line, right? Because I could have honestly just connected here to here to here and said, no, I'm not going to use a parallel, just use a trend line. But this gives me the credence that this is most likely up here a solid target. And again, doesn't mean it can't go through, but probability-wise, that should be some big resistance. So it'll be interesting to see how it comes in. All right, any other trades, guys? What are we looking at here?
Drew, are you seeing anything on deck? Deck is coming up a little bit here, but
The volume might be light,
not
though.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is still light. It is still light, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what we're going to do here, too, is we're going to go through a few more questions, and then we'll probably wind it down here, guys. But let's just hammer out some questions. We got a great trade, Dr. B. Fantastic. If anyone out there was doing it, feel free to comment that you took the trade. That's fantastic. I think the great thing about that trade is that, much like in the trading room, people notice how Dr. B was talking about that level ahead of time. We talked about it, and then he's like, okay, I got filled. So everyone has that ability to put their orders in. And then the beauty of it, too, is let's say you just logged in, and you're like, oh, he's long? Oh, wow, it's at a better price. I can even get in better price.
Better.
Right.
It's like the greatest thing, right? So anyways, couple final questions here. Let's go through. And we apologize for not getting, again, we probably have like 500 questions at this point.
Nice.
It's just hard to analyze the market as we're answering all these questions. Because if we answer all these questions, we never look at the market.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So, so which one do we want to do? Let me see here. Let me see here. I'm an intermediate. Oh, I think I read that one already.
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite chart pattern? Let's just go quickly to Ben. What's your favorite pattern setup? So not technical signal, but pattern.
I like wedge pattern breaks.
Wedge pattern.
Well, really, it's trendline breaks. That would be mine. Sorry.
I like
No, it's fair. That's great.
Stealing yours.
It's great.
measured move. Yeah, the measured move.
Measured.
Yeah. Number
love
one,
it.
best pattern, easy to see. It maps out where a target's going to be. There's measured moves almost on every one of our patterns, which is fantastic too. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't have to answer. You guys know the answer.
VWAP.
Well,
Well,
no,
Well,
no,
that's a signal.
that's
though.
a signal,
Oh,
but
that's right.
the wedges.
The
Right?
wedges.
Falling wedges, the rising wedges.
Yeah, those are powerful, man.
And let
That
me
was
sh-
remember Wolf?
Yes.
Wolf when it
yes.
ran 100% off of one of those. That was a daily swing trade.
Yeah, it was. It was. And
That
this
was a
is
great
why I
one.
love the wedge pattern so much, all right? So I'm going to show you this right here. And you can see that this created a very, very nice wedge pattern.
Another one, yeah.
Yep. So right here, okay. Can you guys see the screen there?
Yep.
yeah,
So this is what I like to see, right? So you've got a nice stock that's up big on the day. You have this termination. You see see the angle of this wedge right here? This is telling me that, hey, remember VWAP? We're far extended from VWAP. We've got this wedge pattern. Here's your big breakdown. Look, we came back up, kind of retested. Boom, there's your breakdown. Now we're forming a bear flag. We'll probably come down here to VWAP.
Yeah, I was
So,
going to say, it looks like a little bear flag forming, so you probably are going to head down to VWAP.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, what's
and I
next?
can calculate a
Next
measured move
questions
off that
here.
bear
Let's see
flag.
what we got
There you go.
here.
There you go.
I'm a beginner. Michelle saying, I'm a beginner. Where do I start? I would say, I mean, if you want to get into day trading, just jump in the room. I think there's nothing, and like we said, the best thing would be, we always recommend sitting back for a week because, again, there's ways that each of us calls out trades that you want to get accustomed to, even though we give heads up quite a distance in advance. Just be a little bit, you know, a little solid. Oh, I'm seeing Tom B saying, new to the service, ACHR, a small practice trade made $67.
Nice.
Good for you.
There you go.
All right.
Great
all
job,
right.
Tom B. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right. Leandro saying, once you've identified your entry, normally you guys do a limit order and enter without knowing if the price might surpass that price, or you enter with a market order and decide in the moment, even though you've had your levels. So I think we always use limits.
Limit, yep.
I want my price or
Yeah.
Or
not.
nothing.
And that's the
Yeah.
beautiful thing, price pattern and time from the Winning Trader series really isolate down. But I will say that we all have our orders out. There's nothing that says we won't adjust it if
Right.
things change, but we don't want to get like, there's some weird stuff that can happen, especially with thinner stocks where, you know, there's some stocks sometimes that we'll even trade with like $2,
MSTR.
$3 spreads, like a Decker or something like that. If you do a limit order, you're getting the low end of that versus the
Yeah.
$3 higher, which
Right.
as a day trade, that's like, I mean, $3 on a day trade, that's pretty
And,
good.
you know,
That
and
could
this
be
is one
your
of-
target profit, yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of the things I was talking about. It's going to take weeks, months to learn your brokerage account. I trade with Thinkorswim, right? And so if you look at the order book, you can just click a mouse and drag your limit order, right, up and down, basically in the same amount of time it takes to make a market order, right? So for me, it's pretty much all limit orders.
Yeah, and Patrick S. saying, thanks, Dr. B. Got 30 cents on Archer.
Nice.
And
Very
Daniel
good.
G. saying, thank you for doing this today. Because of this, I'll be joining Monday. That's awesome.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
Couple other questions, and then we'll close it down here. Andre saying, Dr. B, will there be a Black Friday discount on the 1-minute scalpel? I don't know if we...
You know, I'm not sure if we added that. I think we did some discounts earlier, like over the summer. It was very popular, sold a lot of...
Sorry, no, I was going to
Tell me.
say, what I do know is coming up, though, when you launch your VWAP, there's going to be a bundle deal with the 1-minute scalpel.
Right.
And so there'll be a pretty solid discount if people bundle that, or if
Right.
you've already bought the 1-minute scalpel, you'll still get that discount.
And what's interesting, in the VWAP course, I actually have a module specifically set out for the merger of the 1-minute scalpel methodology and the VWAP methodology.
Oh, and one other sale going on right now is the real estate wealth system is down significantly. We dropped that as a bonus. I think what's interesting as the real estate market begins to crumble in certain areas, like in Florida here, it's starting to come down significantly. This is where you want to learn that stuff on real estate so you're ready to jump in. I think it's only like, you know, it's $200. There's 3 courses in that. It's $200 each or the whole thing for $500. That's like a 75% discount
You know,
from what it used to be.
Actually, you know, several of us are real estate investors. I'm going to take that course myself because I do think that there's an opportunity coming
Huge
in real
opportunity.
estate.
I even
Yeah.
think in commercial. Commercial would be really interesting.
you definitely want to learn it before you need to use it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Or else
need
you're
to-
too late.
Right, exactly.
Yes,
you
I
can't
agree.
be trying to learn it while the deals are there because you won't know what to do.
Right.
Yeah, Paul is saying, I've been waiting for the VWAP course for 1 month. Can't wait to take it. Hurry up with the VWAP course, please. 1 minute scalpel
Sorry there,
is
Paula.
amazing. Very good, Dr. B. Very
Thank
cool.
you.
And David B saying, Rumen traders are amazing. Bring calm to my trading with buying the Winning Trader Series. We'll be buying the Winning Trader Series today. Thank you, guys. And I think that's a good point is that, you know, when people trade on their own and they're new, trading is scary.
It is.
I mean, you're at the mercy. You understand you're at the mercy of companies or institutions that have billions of dollars. They're gonna hunt you like a great white shark, as if you had a little tiny cut in the ocean, and that shark is. So what we do is we bring that calm in, where there's never a trade where we're in. Sometimes we're out of the money significantly, and we're like, guys, this is part of it. This is, you just manage it accordingly. We may end up taking a loss on it, and then we just go on to the next trade. Because when you do 1,000 trades and you understand that you're gonna win 800 of them, but you're gonna lose 200. It's really mathematical, right? It's like, okay, just be consistent. There's always going to be one loser in the mix, so you don't want to bet the farm on any one trade because that could be the loser, but you just stick to the standard stuff. And I think in the trading room, people are like, oh, wow, all right, I'm being guided by people that understand this, and it is what it is at that point.
Didn't come overnight, right? It took a lot of screen time,
a
a lot of effort, took a lot of study. And so, yeah, we're here to help you.
Oh man, Aladdin may be saying, love you guys. I had a heart attack and stroke, lost my job. Watching you has allowed me to put food on my table. You all rock. Wow.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, but it sounds like you're doing better. And wow,
And
that's
again, like what Doc said, we're happy to help. Like that just drives me to want to work harder, you know,
It does.
and put out some
it
better
does.
levels.
That's
you
why,
know,
honestly,
like-
the nice comments. It's the driving force, you know, behind understanding. Like sometimes we get so focused on the charts, we forget that we're doing it for a bigger group and helping
right.
them become financially independent.
Right.
And the comments about doing stuff like that, it's very cool, very cool.
You know, I just want to point out there on Archer, what pattern do you guys see?
Bear flag?
Or
a little head and
potential
shoulders?
Head and shoulders,
Yeah,
right?
here.
Head
Well, let's
and
show
shoulders
people here,
pattern.
guys. So what he's saying here is, so you had right there.
Yeah.
So now you're coming into VWAP, which might that could be a bounce, but then if we also think that maybe this plays out, you just could, so you take that
Measured
distance. That's right, a measured
right.
move. So again, you wouldn't go into this trade and expect that to happen because you have to respect VWAP. Always respect support and resistance, guys. A lot of people, I think, as newer traders, were always like, oh no, it'll break, it'll do. Let it break and then decide, right? So you want to be aware of that. But again, great example there. And again, not only was it head and shoulders, but you also had bear flag.
And by
Again,
the way,
it's just using this stuff to make money.
and if you were to measure a fib from that level, right, from the low to the high, right, you would see that measured move lines up exactly with the 0.5 fib. So when you start to put all these things together, and this takes time, right? All these things are going through our minds. You know, it didn't happen on day one, but yeah, here we are. Let's see if
That's
it
super,
comes down.
super cool. All right, one more comment or question here. Oh, yeah, Marnus saying, I did the 1 minute scalpel. Great, by the way. What would be your advice, Dr. B, on when to exit the trade? What are you thinking? Like, let's say it's going against you.
Yeah, so against you. So I do talk about stop losses in the 1 minute scalpel. You're welcome to kind of use the DCA strategy, but I do give you different areas, you know, using the market structure of where you can put stop losses. So you have to decide, right? What type of trading do you like? Do you like to DCA into a trade? Do you like to stop out a couple times before that big reversal? It's up to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Ronak, who we all know Ronak.
Yeah, what's up,
Everybody
Ronak?
says, I've been with Gareth for a few years. All I can say is it's a no-brainer. Just join and learn how to master the markets. The team is simply amazing. That's awesome, buddy. We love you, buddy. And we know you're in there every day with us trading
man.
and making money, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, from
Great,
Portugal.
great comments too. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, it makes us feel good.
I wonder
Well,
if the you know, traders in the trading room, you know, the members took that trade on Archer.
Oh,
I
you
bet
know
we'll
a
see on
bunch of them
Monday.
did, and a bunch of them did. So that's
Awesome.
awesome. But honestly, guys, I think we're gonna get going. It's been we went about 30 minutes longer than we intended to, but honestly, it's
Yeah, it's
been
great.
fun.
It was fun.
And
It's been a
time
lot
has
of fun.
flown, right?
Yeah,
It's been
it
crazy
has,
to think
yeah.
it's been an hour and a half already. But listen, guys, 50% off the Winning Trader series with the coupon code GIFT50. Again, ask any of these guys. This is where they are now after they've taken it. They've joined the team. To be honest, we're looking for more junior traders, but you have to be local, so you'd have to be willing to relocate and dedicate yourself and be ready to rock and roll. But we're always looking to build out a team of better and better traders and basically bring our abilities that can rival and do rival institutions to you guys. And I think that's important, is that everyone's always worried about the institutions. There are ways to make money consistently. You don't have to be at the mercy of institutional money.
Let's just ride their tails.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
They're making the
Ride the
moves.
waves.
Right.
You know,
what
they're
is
switching the
that?
market.
What is that little fish that attaches itself to the underbelly?
remora.
Remora. Look it up, guys. It attaches itself to the bottom of the shark and just basically eats their scraps. But the scraps to us are hundreds of millions of dollars. Versus they can make their billions, they can make their trillions.
Yeah.
I'll take a few mil, 500 mil. Yeah,
That's
we're
all
good.
good.
We're good. We're good with that.
Yeah, that's
Perfectly
right.
fine.
So that's the key, guys, is like, and we're just developing more and more quality courses for you guys. Education is so important. I took the unfortunate method, even though I'm where I am now, of making the market teach me, and it cost me a heck of a lot more money than a few courses that I could have just leapfrogged over those losses with, and I think that's an important aspect. So obviously, winning Trader Series isn't cheap. It's $5,000, but you probably end up saving $105,000 by taking it. So
It's the truth.
so keep that in mind, guys. And of course, if you guys like these, please let us know. Email us, post on YouTube when it's up on YouTube, or whatever you want. I'd be more than happy to do this again in the not too distant future, if you guys are.
Yeah,
Another
maybe a day
holiday.
a little bit more volatile.
Yeah. I mean,
we got to trade, though.
I know,
So
that's
that's
true.
great. That's
Day
great.
after
Got
Thanksgiving.
to trade. Dr.
All
B
right,
got us
all
a
right.
trade. All right, you
All
guys
right.
have a great rest of your holiday weekend, guys. We're going to be back live. I'll be live with the game plan on Monday, and of course, we'll be in the Apex Live day trading room giving out our trades on Monday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll take care. See you soon.
See you.